Today's school board workshop meeting. And of course, the first item is call to order, and colleagues, I'll go through each item, and if you have anything, please just stop me and we'll take care of that. Any changes to the agenda, and we do have a change to consent agenda. Added item 7.20 RFP 25-01 Food Service Management Operations Committee recommendation at the request of Mr. Wyndham, Program Director Purchasing. We added item 7.21 Proposed School Operational Support Staffing Grid request of Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer. All right, so that takes us through the changes to the agenda and brings us to recognitions. And so 3.1 will be the recognition of Shelby Welch, 2025 Florida High Athletic Association 2A 129-pound weightlifting Olympic and traditional presented by Ms. Elaine LaJeunesse, Eglin 96 TW School Liaison. Then Section 4, we have no administrative appointments. Section 5, public comment. This will be members of the public desiring to address the school board regarding agenda items. Section 6, committee and staff report. 1 is approval. 7.2 is the approval of the minutes of the workshop meeting of March 24th, 2025, minutes of the regular meeting of March 24th, 2025, all recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.3, request to advertise a public hearing for revision of School Board Policy 02-20, subject by the superintendent for approval. 7.4, invoices to be approved for payment presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 7.5, school donations presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 7.6, fiscal year 25-26 child care fees presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 7.8, renewal of ITB 20-10 intercom system program bid presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent. 7.9, tag on bid Clay County aluminum ramps and stairs countywide bid number 24F-247 presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent. Copiers and managed print services presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent. 7.11, renewal of tag-on bid annual agreement for professional environmental consultant services presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent. 7.12, surplus, salvage, and dispose of 7 portable buildings. 7.28(2)(a) and 274.06 presented by Mr. McElroy, Program Director, and recommended by the superintendent.
I'm surprised we're not having a ceremony to release those buildings. Yep.
That's right. All right, 7.13, summer school programs for 2025 SIS. 7.14, request to advertise a public hearing to be held on April 28, 2025 to consider the approval of the charter school renewal contract with Destin High School, Inc., presented by Dr. Choice and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.15, District English Language Learner ELL 3-year plan 25 through 26 through 27. 7.16, motor vehicle lease agreement for disaster transportation services between the School Board of Okaloosa County and Air Force Enlisted Village, Inc., doing business as Hawthorne House, presented by Mr. Gore and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.17, quarterly school safety compliance report, 3rd quarter, in accordance with Rule 6A-1.0018 FAC. 7.18, request to submit the fiscal year 25-26 DODEA, Department of Defense Education grant proposal presented by Ms. Ellis, Specialist, Curriculum and Instruction, and recommended by the superintendent. 7.19, request for course code adoption for the 25-26 school year presented by Ms. Gillis, Specialist, and recommended by the superintendent.
I just want to say, I think this is cool. They're doing social media, and it also talked about the implications of what you put on social media, and that's important.
No, absolutely. And I think it's becoming a more popular course in the CTE realm. And my understanding is that our students will be able to take a cert that'll be associated with this course as well. So we're excited about it.
Good, that's good.
Yeah, there are a lot of corporate jobs out there for this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so 7 presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent. 7.21, proposed school operational support staffing grid and school supplement grid discretionary budget for fiscal year 25-26, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent.
And Dr. White, if
Yes,
you don't
sir.
mind, I just appreciate our school board having conversations with district staff as it pertains to items here today and items that come across each meeting. And I appreciate district staff who reaches out to board members on these topics to have these conversations. So just appreciate the questions that you all have, adjustments that we make. So just want to say thank you.
Yes, sir, Superintendent, and I'll just say, from my perspective, I very much appreciate all the work that you do. This is, and certainly Mr. McInnes can speak to this better than I can. It is a duty of the superintendent to prepare the agenda, and I appreciate you doing that and working with your staff and bringing all of this forward, and then also discussing these matters with the board. And very, very grateful for that. A lot of folks don't know that, but thank you for doing that.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Could we go back to the
Sure.
food service piece?
Oh, yeah. I thought you might want.
Is that correct?
All right. Welcome, Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, sir. This is a request to go into negotiations with the highest ranking vendor
yes.
that went through the RFP process.
And I see that number one is Aramark?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this isn't done yet, you're in negotiations
That's right.
with them?
Yes.
Okay, and so this is just, I see you had a committee who ranked, of course, cost, but what other things do you kind of look at when they're ranking them?
Sure. So there was 10 different sections that they were ranked, and each committee member had their own scoring system, and then we used the district policy as far as ranking each of them after each individual scored those. So it ranged from, you're right, the pricing to marketing to how they were going to pay our staff. So very broad, different scoring. And then we gathered those scores and ranked each one. And the top 3 are in this proposal to go into negotiations with the first one. And then we would go from there.
Because you know when you start messing with people's food,
That's right. That's right.
you get people having,
that's
so, and this will also cover our breakfast program and our lunch program,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
That we
Yes.
have under that, and I know some of that's federal, but.
Sure.
Okay, so I just wanted to bring that up, that is a change and that we're looking at that. So what's the next step in the process?
After we go through negotiations, and I might ask Mr. McGinnis to chime in here, after we go through negotiations and we work things out, then we would come back to the board to ask for the change.
Gotcha, okay,
Mr.
thank you.
McGinnis?
And
Yes,
Mr.
sir, that's
Vanchek,
correct. If we're able to get a contract negotiated, that contract would come back to the
to take one step back, I think, and I want you to explain, or Mr. McGinnis explain. I think Florida statute dictates what occurs after a set period, such as food services. So their contract ran its course, and then once that happens, there's statute that dictates what's going to occur before a new vendor is selected. So just explain that process as to why we even went through this.
So depending on the contract length, and this was for 5 years, and TNG was in place for 10 years. So they won the contract 10 years ago. Sodexo was our food service provider before that.
That's right.
They won it 5 years ago, and then we had to go through the process again over the last few months. Each time, it's an open bid. We had 7 different vendors apply, and we heard presentations from each one of those, and then we go through purchasing and Mr. Wyndham's. So when the contract is approved, would be in place for 5 years, and we'd go through the same thing again in 5
Right.
years.
Yeah, Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Meyer. Thank you, Ms. Vanchek. All right, so that takes us through the consent items, and we've come now to Section 8, Human Resources. And so 8.1 is information only, employees on administrative leave, presented by Dr. Hale. 8.2, information only, deferred retirement option program by Dr. Hale. 8.3 is an out-of-field report for the 2024-2025 school year, presented by Ms. Duron and recommended by the superintendent. 8.4, employment separations, presented by the superintendent. 8.7, employee suspension, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.8, employee suspension, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.9, leave without pay, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. There are no items on the discussion agenda as of this time. Section 10, construction program owners, representatives, business, a status report by the board's representative. And then, Mr. Attorney, that brings us to your business, sir.
No report today.
All right. Superintendent, you've got some out-of-state student trip requests, and also you may have some other items.
Yes, sir. We do have a few announcements that I do want to make, and as you know, this is a very busy time of the year. And not only do we have awards ceremonies that have already started and that will continue through May into graduation, but it's just also other events that are happening. As you know, our students historically do well in the science fair, and they did shine at the state science fair. We had 15 students amongst 700 students across the state of Florida, and our students did do well. They received numerous recognitions and awards. So just want to really send our appreciation out to those students, those 15, but also to their teachers and sponsors who worked through those projects. And then there's also community members who also help in those ventures. So again, our students doing very well. This past Friday, our Student Services Department and Title I, they hosted a parent night over at the Beachside Community Church, parenting through big emotions, and really helping parents have different strategies in working with their students. It was very successful. I know Ms. Dale was there, Ms. Ard was there. Just really appreciated a number of volunteers, a large number of volunteers, about 250 parents signed up. I'm not sure of the exact number that actually attended, but very successful evening. We also have tomorrow, Ms. Vanchek might talk about this, so I'll just kind of be brief. Elliott Point, in conjunction with the Okaloosa Public Schools Foundation, will have their second annual career questions for me. I'll just say that. Also, as you know, the state of Florida has dictated that high schools do college and career fairs, and we've already been taking part in that. Fort Walton Beach has had their second career college and career fair, very successful. The first year they had about 80 vendors. This year about 130 vendors, military, businesses, colleges, there ranging in career fields of law, medicine, skilled trades, and so much more. So just appreciate Ms. Smith's leadership on that and really placing an emphasis on the future for her students. In a moment, I'm going to have Mr. Spolsky come up and talk about the month of the military child, but before that, this Thursday, as the board started, it was small, and now it's at the Mattie Kelly Art Center. And this is likened to when our athletes sign to go to whatever college that they're going to go to. And 6 years ago, we said, we know that the governor's emphasis was by the year 2030, the state of Florida to be #1 in CTE, career and technical education, and we wanted to do our part as well. So really recognizing our students who are going straight into technical colleges or they're going straight into the workforce based on the opportunities that they had here in our school system. We will have Mr. Nathan Sparks, the executive director for One Okaloosa. He'll be the keynote speaker. So that's going to be exciting. He was the very first one, and I was coming back 6 years later. So that's going to be an outstanding event. On Friday, Dr. White and I will start our first roundtable discussion, and then, of course, our others will come as well. But we'll be at Choctaw High School talking with a group of students. And as you know, Board, this is, I think, it's a highlight of the year, sitting down with our students and talking about items that are exciting to them and suggestions that they have. So just appreciate that. And then, as we know, it's Month of the Military Child, and our schools are active this month, doing a number of activities for our students. And you know, very strong military population, and we want to do everything that we can do to support our military. One of the things I thought was interesting in how they came up with the Purple Up, just a little research here, which I appreciate. And you look at the purple symbolizes all branches of the military. And it combines the Army green, the Coast Guard blue, the Air Force blue, the Marine Corps red, and Navy blue, and all coming together for purple. So with that, Mr. Spolsky, if you'd come forward.
Welcome,
you,
Mr.
sir.
Spolsky.
Thank you, Dr. White. Thank you, school board members, board attorney. It's my honor to be here today. I purposely wore my American flag pin and my Statue of Liberty socks, and I am just excited about April. As you know, we are blessed to have such a strong military presence in our area, and OCSD is celebrating the MOMC, the Month of the Military Child. Our district embraces our young folks. And this initiative that we embrace, really recognizes the sacrifices that the men and women across the world, but our community here do to make sure that that mission is carried out and their children are in supportive environments. If you notice on the slide up here, it says Florida Purple Star District, and we mentioned that a few board meetings. We are one of only 5 districts in the whole state out of the 67 that have that designation because of what our school leaders, what this board, and what this community does to support the entire mission. Mr. Chambers mentioned some of the different things we do for Purple Up, and I saw Mr. Meyer, being former Army, kind of go like this when he heard Army Green. He loves that feeling that we all have, especially myself being born in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, with tanks and tumbleweeds. But if you look here, we don't celebrate Purple Up on one day. Our schools are just so passionate about what this stands for. And we are doing activities all month long to really make all of the youngsters that are in our schools, K through 12, to feel special. And we have formal activities, and we have some that are semi-formal, but the whole piece behind it is how do we really recognize all the great things for our military children. Some of our schools are hosting events like military-themed breakfasts, luncheons. We're seeing those out there. Our JROTCs, our course students, rallies. There's all kinds of things that we just get really, really excited about. Student engagement is probably one of the biggest pieces. A lot of times at some of our primary or elementary schools, you'll see cards, you'll see decorations, you'll see scavenger hunts, everything to really make sure the youngsters are getting involved in the initiative to support our groups. We're very proud of this. And of course, the older students, the military students, love the recognition. We provide them with certificates. We are very blessed that we have a strong military liaison program for our seniors, and they get graduation cords. So when they walk across any of our stages, they can recognize them with a red, white, and blue cord for their accomplishments as well. So, and I remember last year, Mr. Chambers, Mr. Meyer, and I, and a couple others went out to Mary Esther Elementary to check on Dawn Johnson there, the principal. And there was multiple folks from Hurlburt Air Force Base working, sweating out there, clearing brush off fences, helping with painting. Just talk about community involvement, whether it's getting our schools ready each season, each semester, or in the summer. And we're just like to recognize them with celebratory events, whether it's an ice cream social or it's just a thank you note. And they're very receptive. It's truly a partnership here in our community. For those of us that don't get outside of our boundaries, sometimes we forget that. We forget that most grocery stores across the state of Florida aren't filled with men and women in uniform day in and day out. And I think it's something that we might take for granted, and I hope we reflect this month to say, we live in a special place. So in honor of the troops, but also in honor of the month of the military child, we are honored to support them. So
Very good.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Spolsky.
Sir.
Superintendent?
And the last thing I have is just to let the board know that we're still very closely monitoring legislation. We do that, I was going to say weekly, but staff actually does that daily. They have the sites up on their computer. Every time there's an adjustment that's made, they're tracking it through the process. We are also speaking with our group that represents us as well. We are working through the budget. I will say this will be a challenging budget. And when I say that, we've already worked through it. We've been working through it for the last several months in preparing this. We will bring before you at the right time a balanced budget. I'll just say a lot of work has gone into making sure that we're prepared for what we think might be coming. Now the budgets are not done, and then they will come to what they believe the budget will be before it goes to the governor. So again, Mrs. Perry and her group and our senior staff has done a great job looking through where we currently are, how it impacts us. Mr. Spolsky has already started his meetings with each of the schools, having 2, 3, and sometimes 4 meetings a day, looking at their allocations. And as you know, school board, that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, and making sure that we're very responsible with those allocations. So that part has come. Our district departments have really looked at their budgets as well in areas where we can decrease at the district level, and trying to keep any adjustments that we do make, as many as possible, away from the schools, and making sure that our principals, our teachers, our staff, our students are equipped with what they need to be successful. So we will continue through this process, but I will say I do think it will be a challenging budget if it's where it currently stands. I know there's a lot of conversations happening at the state level, and we are also having conversations. But you may have seen some things that are going on throughout the state, and like I've said to our people, we'll remain calm. We're going to continue to advocate in the right way, but we will be prepared for the budget that comes. And if there's some adjustments to the good, then that's a blessing, and then we will act accordingly. That's all I have, Dr. White.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question
Yes, sir.
for the soup.
Yes, sir.
House Bill 949 is a wireless bill, and do you know any details on that? I looked like someone was trying to pass that no cell phones in schools.
So I don't have all the details on that right now, but I will say the cell phone bills, they've been out there, and there's some that want to get aggressive in terms of more restrictions on cell phones. But you may know right now in statute, there's actually policy or statute where they're able to have cell phones, and one of the main reasons is due to safety. But I will say, cell phones handled the right way can be productive. Cell phones not handled the right way can be a large distraction. And our teachers have a daunting task in front of them every day to do what they do, which is teach, with all the other things that they're now responsible for. So when you throw cell phones into the mix, that can be even more daunting. I think I know we have absolutely outstanding students, but sometimes those cell phones can be utilized in ways where you don't even realize they're being utilized. So I do understand that there's also a push to make more restrictions in place for cell phones.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, colleagues, that takes us now to Section 13, Board Members' Announcements and Requests. 13.1 is School Board Members' Travel Request. That is an action item. And then 13.2, School Board Members' Announcements and Requests for Information. And so, Mr. Heinley, sir, I'll start with you.
Mr. Superintendent, can you give us details on Principal Morello at Niceville High School's appointment to the, whatever board that was?
So first and foremost, he is not leaving Niceville High School and being an advocate and a means of support for administrators across the state. So it's a well-deserved appointment, and I know it's something that he will serve well and be a benefit to others, but he's not leaving Niceville High School.
I just wanted to get that out in the public. I had the same questions in the phone calls. They like their principal there at Niceville.
Yes, sir.
I have nothing else except the tradition. Today is the 14th. Who was the 14th President of the United States? You didn't do your homework? It's a tough one.
I can do a quick Google search if you'd like.
You can't use your phones in here.
Okay.
Franklin Pierce.
Pierce.
My other favorite one.
The other one we forgot.
All right, you board members need to work on that a little bit.
Oh, okay, we'll be on.
You know, Tim Bryant would have done his homework.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Heinley, do you know what Mr. Pierce was famous for back during that time?
I do. Go ahead and tell us.
So there were a number of different entrepreneurs, and they would deal with different, I'll just call them crops or means of food. And he was someone who was very strong with walnuts and other types of nuts that come from trees. And what happens with walnuts and pecans and how they eventually made their way into pecan pies and walnut pies, that's actually a derivative of this president, and it's a legacy that sticks with him to this day.
Very impressed there.
Well, drop the
Very
mic.
Impressed.
That's awesome info.
Just
Special interest to the seed lobby, clearly.
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
and if you cite references, just come to me.
There you go, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely did none of that.
How you
Cool.
follow that up, Brett?
That's all I have. Chairman.
I think that's
Yeah.
for state champion, and they did have an individual student, Lane Brewer, to win a state championship in weightlifting over the weekend. I got a text immediately, so excited for my Gators over there at Baker. And speaking of them, in tomorrow's, I believe it's going to be front page Daily News, there's a big article, I see Miss Beasley out there, on Baker's new agricultural program. And when the reporter went up there, he found lots more than he expected to write on. He told me he's going to cover a lot of great things on Baker, so I can't. Been recognized by the Country Music Hall of Fame Association recently. We'll be having her 4th and 5th graders put on a play called Matilda Jr., and it's amazing. It's a musical, but she gets 4th and 5th graders to do. It's fabulous what she does over there. So I'll be heading over that way. Let's see, what else? And this is something Dr. White and I share about the great news at Choctaw. And as the school board's representative on the foundation handled a grant that was written by Choctaw ROTC instructor Colonel Lazenby, and it's actually funded by Florida Power and Light, received $50,000 the other day at the school it's called a classroom makeover grant, but what his topic is working on new strategies for safety in aviation, not just as pilots, but every aspect, whether it be baggage or all kinds of different. I think that's great for your Choctaw there, but I was glad to be able to be there representing our foundation last week when that was done. So lots of exciting things. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for representing the foundation and us
Yeah,
over there.
glad to do it.
All right, Mr. Destin?
Nothing this morning, really, other than I want to piggyback off of what the superintendent said about Lindsay Smith and her administrative staff and the folk and the community at large in Fort Walton that came together for the career fair. That was a very big deal. It basically doubled, I think, over the previous year, and that is one heck of a really, really good resource and opportunity for our students. Can't say enough good things about that. And it was really well attended, but that was the community coming together along with some really good leadership from Ms. Smith and her folks. So I just wanted to recognize that. I had a question that probably is best for the superintendent, but in general, but also it was brought to this board's attention, I think by Dr. Kelly, maybe about 6 or 7 months ago, about the issue of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence and the use of some of these cheating tools in the classrooms. And then, if I remember correctly, there was a position that was taken by the board to adopt a policy with regards to the use of that in the classrooms. And I may be asking for something that has already been handled, but where does that stand?
No, I think your question is timely. I think Mr. McGinnis over to my left is going to have some information, but I know we've looked at AI policies across the state, across the nation. I think 6 months ago when we started looking into this, not a lot of AI policies in school districts. So we did talk with Mr. McGinnis. He's talked with his colleagues. Mr. Spolsky's pulled some AI policies as well. Mr. McGinnis has that, where he's kind of scrubbing that, and I'll turn that over to Mr. McGinnis.
Yeah, the superintendent's right. We're in the midst of drafting that now, looking to see how other districts and even other states have begun to address that issue. The initial policies were very bare bone because things were progressing so quickly that it was hard to regulate. But we now have some what I'd call evolving policies that I think would work well here. So that's what we're in the process of doing. Our plan would be to have that policy in place hopefully before we get into the new school year.
Terrific, thank you.
All right, thank you both. All right, so I have just a few announcements here that I'd like to make. I'd like to say, first of all, congratulations again to the Choctaw Archery team for their back-to-back archery state championship and grand championship across all divisions. Awesome. There were multiple individual winners, but Sophia Harper placed second overall in the girls division and won a $3,000 scholarship. Also, congratulations to Choctaw's indoor percussion as they took the silver medal at the World Championship. Special thanks to Peden HVAC Plumbing and Electrical for their donation of a new grill to the Choctaw Style Marchers. So get those hot dogs and hamburgers. And then finally, also congratulations to the Choctaw boys who won the weightlifting state championship. And so that's all I have, colleagues. And that brings us down to 4.1.
Could I do one more
sure,
thing?
go ahead.
I don't see Ms. Cato here, so you're on.
Well, good morning, and I do appreciate that. I will tell you that we have completed 2 health fairs. We have 1 left to go, and our intention was to come after we had completed the full rotation with a full report.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to steal your thunder.
No, it's fine. But what I will say is that it's been very well attended. We've been booked all the way from beginning to end at both locations. We've been through both the north part of the county and the south part. We have the central left to do, which will be this Saturday. So thank you. I'll take this opportunity to plug that. But it's been very, very well done, very professional. The vendors that have been there on the other side of the biometric screenings have been very, very helpful and have provided a lot of new service opportunities or different things in our community that our employees may not have been aware of. And plus, when you go through all the biometric screenings and you do all the things at the health fair, you come out the other side with some money in your pocket through our UHC reward. So it's really, really a good process. Ms. Cato will be here at the next board meeting with a full report on all of them, but in a general sense, they've been very successful and I'm very proud of what the risk management department's put together.
Terrific, thanks. I think it's a great benefit for our employees.
Yep. All right, thank you. All right, so back to section 14, public comment, and that will be general comments using the yellow card. And so that next item will be adjournment, but first let me call on members of the staff. Anything? Associations? Superintendent?
sir.
Good? Mr. McInnes? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Oh, update and,
Oh, I don't think he feels good.
okay, here we go.
I'm glad to have it back.
He's like, oh, don't threaten me with a good.
Are you? Doing well. See you tonight.
Yep.
Do you know when you're playing?
The first one's 4th of July.
Yeah, well, let me know. I'll ask her too. Let me know.
Yeah, whatever. We can come and check it out. I know it's good.
The only downside is the weather.
So I understand that you're going to be having lunch with me Wednesday at the Women's Club.